You're right guys, in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Evolution R255 SMS. That's the Evolution Rage 255mm sliding mitre saw. Now a big thank you goes out to Evolution Power Tools for sending me out the saw to test out and to put it through its paces and to give my honest opinion on it. Now do keep in mind, I'm not a professional by any means, I'm just an average Joe after all, but I hope you find this review helpful. Let's have a look at some of the tech specs. The saw has a 2000 watt motor and it can cut up to 6mm thick steel. It weighs 15.3 kilograms. The saw has a max cut width of 30cm and a max cut depth of 8cm when at 90 degrees. It has a max cut width of 21cm when at 45 degrees. You can cut up to 50 degrees either side of 90. There are location notches for more common angles. Tightening the knob at the front locks the angle in place. Towards the back of the saw is some very useful cable storage. You will also find the knob that locks down the sliding motion of the saw. The silver pin is used to keep the saw plunged. This keeps it more compact for storage. The trigger is great for both right and left-handed use. There is a depth stop on this saw too, which is a great feature to have. The switch on the handle turns the laser on and off. This saw can bevel and that is all controlled round the back. Loosening the knob allows the saw to tilt to 45 degrees. There are built-in stops for 90 and 45 degrees. Pushing the silver pin forward engages a stop for 33.9 degrees. Now let's see the saw in action. Of course it has no trouble with cutting wood. The multi-purpose blade makes quick work of wood with nails too. The hold down clamp has a notch ideal for holding angled pieces. This is 3mm right angle steel. The saw has no problem at all and as always a nice cold cut. Cutting PVC is a breeze too. You can also use Evolution's diamond blade in this saw. This allows it to cut some much harder material. The Allen key used for changing the blade is stored at the back of the tool. The spindle lock button is to the right of the power trigger. Always turn off and unplug the tool when changing the blade. This was my first time using an Evolution saw to cut concrete. I was really impressed with how well it handled the job. The diamond blade is smaller than the multi-purpose blade, so I did have some material left to cut on the back of the piece. I think adding a scrap piece along the back of the fence or underneath the workpiece would allow the blade to make it all the way through the cut. Last thing I wanted to try cutting was a house brick. Like the concrete, it had no issues with the cut. I just needed to flip it over to finish it off. So overall then guys, I'm really impressed with how this saw performs. Biggest features that stand out to me is that it's got that 300mm cut. A lot of saws are slightly under that 300mm diameter that it's able to cut, so being able to have that in a saw like this, it's really useful. If you're going to be cutting 2 foot material, you know that it's a simple one flip and you mull the way through, and those are the most common situations that you would find yourself getting into. Now, like I say, I don't work on site, I literally just do bits and bobs in my shed and out in the garden as well. So I haven't got any experience with carrying the tool around on a work site or anything like that, but for my workshop, it is quite big because it's got that sliding arm to it. When the arm is fully extended backwards, it takes up a lot of space behind the tool, and of course when it's forwards, that's when it's more compact, but you can't always use it in that position. So do keep that in mind, that if you've got a small workspace, this saw might be a bit too big for you. But do have a look at the dimensions. The dimensions I'm listing on the website, and I'll leave links down below in the description to where the saw is available, and Evolution Power Tools website as well, so you can look at some of the alternatives there. For the money, I really don't think you can go wrong with this one. If you look at other ones in the price point, they all look really the same, to be honest with you. But with the Evolution, it's got that ability to cut metal, plastics, concrete with the diamond blade, everything like that, so that's what really makes it stand out. My favourite feature on the saw out of everything has got to be the depth stop. It's something that's like really underrated, but when you've got it on a tool like this, you find yourself using it for all kinds of situations. And as you can see, it's just a case of moving the latch out of the way so you can plunge all the way through, so you can keep that depth stop saved. So if you want to do a plunge cut that doesn't go all the way through, you can do those cuts and then switch easily to a fall through cut without losing all your setup. It's a really nice feature to have, and I really wish that more saws would implement one of them as well. I really like the design of the hold down clamp as well. Having that groove in it to hold angle iron and round pieces is really useful. I would have liked to have seen some rubberised grip on the bottom to stop any marring on hardwoods and surfaces that I'm almost finished already, but it does the job, so I can't really fault it too much. The only real downside to the tool that I can really comment on is obviously when putting the diamond blade in, being a smaller diameter than what the saw is made for, it doesn't make it all the way through at the back of the cut. You can move the fence forward, but I never want to mess with that. Once that's set up nice and square, I just don't touch it, so I don't want to really mess with that at all. So you are really limited to just adding scrap pieces behind it. It's not a big deal, but it's something to keep in mind if you're buying this saw, particularly to do a lot of cuts using the diamond blade. You might want to go with one of the smaller ones, so you can use the saw in its proper diameter kind of thing. Another one is there is some play in the latch at the front, so the angles that you can tilt to from 50 degrees either side of 90, how it's got all the common angles ready for you, you just lock the latch in place. On my other Evolution Rage saw, there's no play whatsoever. In this one, there is some play, so I have to make sure that I always lock it down even if I'm in that latch position, just to make sure it doesn't move about. Again, not a totally big deal when you consider the money that you're spending on the tool, but it is worth keeping in mind that there is that little bit of play there. So that's it then guys, I hope you found this review useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Check out the description down below to where you can find the saw and all that good stuff. Leave a comment down below if you've got any questions. As always, I answer all of them. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, click the subscribe button and then click the little bell icon next to it to get notifications. I do all kinds of videos, not just reviews like these. I do project videos, quick tips, and even a Friday live show where I go over everything that's caught my eye in the past week. So there should be something for everyone to enjoy. Thank you all for watching again.